Welcome back to the Learn Yoga Challenge Day 2. All right, in this video, we are going to be working on back bends. We're going to start off with some all fours work in order to warm up the body and get it ready for back bends, and then we're going to move into them. Now, let me just say, back bends are so good for us. It seems so counterintuitive, right? Doesn't it feel like, at least it does to me, that bending back should be bad for the spine? But done well, and that's a really important part of this, it's so balancing because we spend so much of our life forward in that hunched position. This is just so good for the spine to open it up. I happen to teach back bends very slowly, so we're just going to do a first couple of steps today so you can start to open up the body and begin to teach the body a new way of being. Excuse me. And then I'll teach more, obviously, as we go more deeply into it in the Complete Beginner Yoga Series 2.0. So let's get started. We're going to start off on all fours. Now, if you have knees that are tender, I have a couple of suggestions. If it's you just need a little padding, go ahead and use some sort of like a firm blanket underneath your knees. If this is still tender, the next thing that you want to try is to come toward the edge of the blanket so that your knees hang off. So this is supporting my shins, but my knees are just barely hanging off. This is often a way for people with really tender knees to be. If it still hurts, just know that being on your knees is just not for you. Maybe right now, maybe for forever. So you want to find alternatives, and it's a little tricky for me in this short little video to give those to you, but just know that the first few things we're going to do are not going to be helpful for you. Okay, I don't need a blanket because I'm already on carpeting, so I'm nice and squishy. So on all fours, one of the things you want to be really careful of when you're in table position are your wrists. If you just relax your hands and your arms a little bit, you will cup your hands. Everybody does it to varying degree. And what that does, if you do it, you can feel it, it puts all of your weight into your wrists. So you want to be careful by gently pressing down through the base of the index finger and spreading your weight out over or through your hands, through all of your fingers. Okay? And then the arms are really strong. So feel that. This feels good, doesn't it? And then we're going to start with simple cat-cows, arching and rounding the spine. So you're going to draw the belly in, round all the way up, and then arch up. And you don't need to sink deeply into the lower back. It's already arched. Think of arcing up into the upper back. And then as you round, we're going to really round that lower back. Upper back already has a rounding, right? And then we're going to arc. I like to follow my breath with this. So inhale as I lift up and my lungs expand. Exhale as I contract and squish my lungs, if you will. Inhale, opening. Exhale, closing. One more. Inhale up. Exhale, release. And then back to center. So if you do have a hard time with your knees, you can do that one and the next one sitting in a chair. Okay, separate your knees a little bit. We're going to do a pose called table with a twist. I love this because it feels really good on your spine, and it's definitely a way that I end the day almost every day. Take your left hand in the space between your hands. Be mindful of pressing down through the palm. You're going to bring the right arm up and give yourself a nice twist. Reach that arm up. Then you're going to come down, bend your left elbow. You're going to thread the right arm under. Without touching down, you're going to come right back up. Get a nice squeeze, and then come down. If you're sitting in a chair, you're just going to open up and then bring the arm around. Open up and bring the arm around. One more time. Open up and then bring the arm down, and this time you're going to hold. Come up onto your left fingertips and use that hand just to help you open a little bit more, getting a nice twist. And then release and come on up. And we'll change sides. Right hand in the middle, left arm opens up. And release and come down. 4 more. Inhale, come on up. Come on down. Inhale up. and come on down. It's okay to slow it down. Don't speed it up from where I am, but it's okay always to go your own pace. Last time, but make sure it's a safe pace. Come all the way down and just rest your head and your arm. Come up onto your right fingertips here and use that right arm to help you open the shoulder a little bit more, getting a nice twist. And then come on up and back up onto all fours. And you're going to step your right foot up between your hands for a lunge. Okay, now fingers and toes are in one straight line. You want to bring that foot all the way up to where your hands were. I see this all the time. People get their foot part way up, hands are here. I say hands and toes in one straight line, and they bring the hands back. Okay? If that was you, you are not alone, believe me. But it can feel like this is really far to go. So do whatever it takes. I'm a firm believer in cheating at certain times. You're going to bring that foot up, and it can feel remarkably awkward that first time. Hang in there. Fingers even with the toes. You're going to release the hips forward as you lift up to the front of the body and feel broad across your heart. What I mean by that is instead of hunching down, you're lifting up, drawing those shoulders down. And this is just a nice release for the front of the hip, which gets super tight throughout the day. Doesn't that feel good? So good. All right, now lift your back leg. And it might take a little work. You might be able to lift it right from where you are, or you might have to take your hands back a little bit to help you get it up. That's just fine. Then you take the hands back. Again, well-placed cheating, it's a good thing. And get that back leg nice and strong. And then drop the knee, step the front foot back, and you're going to press the palms, reach the sit bones up, and press back into an active extended child. So you're taking the sit bones up toward the ceiling as you take your shoulders down. So this is another variation of that downward facing dog, just like the wall push we did in our first class. And you want your shoulder tension to be the guide. If you feel like your shoulders are getting really tight, then stop. If you force yourself to keep going, you're just going to sink into the neck, the back, depending on wherever it is you take it in your body. And then come back up, and then step your left foot up between your hands. Now remember, get that foot all the way up, whatever it takes. Fingers and toes in one straight line. Release the hips forward, lift up, feel your breath. This is another one I recommend you do every single day. This muscle, the hip flexor, gets really tight with sitting and walking, and it can affect your lower backs. So just getting a nice stretch at least once a day, especially at the end, it's a pretty good thing. And then go ahead and lift the back knee up. Again, if the hands need to come back to lift it up, go ahead. Sometimes we need a little help. No shame in that. And then take it down. Step your front foot back. And you're going to come all the way down to the floor. Let's talk back bending, shall we? So the key to back bending, the initial key, there are lots of keys, but the initial one is to learn how to move into your upper back and not just your lower back, okay? We tend to just sink into our lower back when we do a back bend, when we lean back, and because the upper back is tight. It also doesn't have a lot of movement to it. We have our ribs there, our ribs attached to the vertebrae, which makes it a little bit less mobile. Add to that all the upper back tension from hunching over our telephones and our keyboards that causes a lot of issues. So part of the purpose of back bends is to get some healthy movement into the upper back and not simply sinking into the lower back all the time. Okay, our lower backs have gotten way too flexible. They're actually a part of the body that's supposed to be really stable to support our spine, and they've gotten way too malleable. And I know you might say, but mine is really tight. We'll talk about it in the next series, if you decide to join me for Complete Beginner Yoga Series 2.0, I definitely go into that with a lot more in-depth discussion. But just trust me, that tightness is actually a reflection of having an over-flexible lower back, which causes the tension. So our focus is learning how to move from the upper back and how to wake it up and how to strengthen the muscles in the back. So we're going to explore this with 3 different poses. We're going to start with Shalabhasana, which is locust pose, which is a great back strengthener. It also helps strengthen the neck, which can help protect your discs, protect the natural curvatures of the spine. So many good things come from this pose. And I will talk you through it slowly and teach it to you as we go along. So just feel it in your body and listen to your body, okay? Anytime you feel pain in the lower back, that is not good. If you feel like it's working and the muscles are contracting, that's good. That's what we want, okay? So starting off on your belly, you're going to bring your hands back by your hips. Adjusting the clothing is part of the process as well. Bring the hands back by the hips. You're going to roll the shoulders back and down. Feel the shoulder blades move as you lift the arms. Now feel the action in the shoulder blades as you lift the arms. Can you feel that contraction? That's getting us into the upper back, beginning to strengthen those muscles. Then you're going to gently press the thumbs in toward each other and feel the shoulder blades move toward each other. Now, if you have a lot of upper back tension, you may not get to the movement of the shoulder blades. So if that's you, go ahead and take your arms down. You don't need to hang out there and be exhausted. Then just think about lifting as best you can. Begin to wake up that upper back. So you're just going to do the best you can, feeling that movement. You can move the arms right from the shoulder joint, and that's not what we want. Okay, you want to think of lifting the head, the top of the arm bone. Okay, all right, so bring those arms up. Lengthen through the fingers. Feel the shoulder blades draw toward each other too as you press the thumbs toward each other. Then you're going to lift the torso and legs at the same time. Now, think long. You're reaching out through the toes, up and out through the top of the head. Feel your breath. Get really long through the body. Feel the space between the vertebrae. And then release and come down. And we'll do 2 more. Roll the shoulders back and down. Lift the arms up. Extend the legs, lift the torso and legs up. And again, check in with that lower back. There shouldn't be any tension. And then come down. And 1 more. Lift the arms. Thumbs press toward each other. Torso and legs come up. Now, when I say tension, again, it's contraction. It should be working. The muscles are working. When I say tension, I really should say discomfort. If there's any pain, pinching, none of that is good. You just come down a little bit lower if that happens. And then release. And then go ahead and just turn your head to one side. You're going to gently rock the hips side to side. And this is just an opportunity to check in with the back. This is called crocodile pose. So you're just going to check that lower back, see how it feels. I'm a little out of breath. Can you hear it? All right, and then come on up. And we're going to do the second pose. This one is called Sphinx. And what I love about Sphinx is it begins to tap you into that upper back. So you can start to feel your upper back and something happening in your upper back, if you will, just to begin to waken up this spot, okay? So you're going to bring your arms up and overhead. My little plant is in my way. And have them so they are shoulder width apart, so your arms are parallel with each other. Going to extend through your legs. You want to make them active. So you're reaching through your legs like you're pushing your toes up against the wall, okay? There's no wall back there. It's okay. But just pretend. So you're pushing, you're making those legs elongated and active. You're going to slide the elbows back, maybe about 4 inches. Palms are pressing. Watch that the elbows didn't go out to the side. They're still shoulder width apart, so your arms are still parallel. And you're going to draw the shoulders down as you lift the heart up. And can you feel it in the upper back? This is when you begin to tap into that upper back action. Legs are still extending. If you feel it in your lower back, draw the belly in just a little. And then think of scooping up. You're lifting through that heart, lifting through your chest. And then if you can, bring the elbows back so they're underneath the shoulders-ish. They don't have to be that far. and then lift up. I actually find this position in my body is easier than the further out position. Lift up. And just feel that upper back. We're just trying to wake it up so you can begin to have the sense of where your upper back is and how to move from it. And then go ahead and release. Okay, we have one final one to do. This one is called Bhujangasana or Cobra Pose. And this is a more active back bend, and we'll be able to go a little bit more deeply. So it's sort of putting those first two together. Take your hands up underneath your shoulders. Now, your fingers should be right about at the edge of your shoulders. Kind of hard to tell from this perspective, but here's what you don't want. So if this is happening, I'll tell you how to fix it. If your elbows are down, your hands are too far ahead. Okay? Slide the hands back so your elbows are off the ground. And you're going to roll those shoulder heads back and down just like we did in that first one in Shalabhasana. Okay? So the shoulders aren't coming forward. You're rolling them back and down, and see if you can feel it from the shoulder blades. It's okay if you don't, but see if you can, right? Work on it. Then you're going to gently squeeze the elbows in. Just take a breath. A lot of upper back activity now, right? This is something you might feel tomorrow. These are the muscles we want to be strengthening that tend to be really quiet in all of our bodies. So you're definitely going to be feeling it tomorrow if this is brand new for you. So again, squeezing the elbows. I'm talking for a reason. I want you to hold this for a little bit. Now, think of reaching up and out through the top of the head as you inhale and just use your back muscles to come up. So you're not pressing into the hands at all, and then you're going to come back down. Now let's add to it. Extend your legs. So you're going to be pushing your big toes up against the wall again, just like we did in the Sphinx pose. Roll the shoulders back and down, squeeze the elbows in. Inhale, come on up, and just feel in the upper back. Can you feel your Sphinx as you come up and then come down? If you feel any pain in the lower back at all, don't come up this high. Just slowly come up. If you feel pain in your back and you keep doing up and down to the point of pain in your back, come on down. You will always have pain in your back, right? We have to reintroduce, we have to introduce the body to a whole different movement. And if it's in the habit of going right into the back and feeling pain, and you keep going into the lower back and feeling pain, you're going to keep moving into the lower back and feeling pain, right? So we need to introduce something new. So that means taking your time and making it slower, lower, and gentler. And I'm telling you, I have never, not once, in 30 years of teaching, thousands of students had a student who didn't eventually figure out how to move without pain in the lower back. So keep that in mind, okay? There's reason to my madness. And I will also tell you, it doesn't usually take very long. I mean, within a couple of weeks of doing it relatively regularly, people are like, oh yeah, I'm feeling better already. Okay, so now if it feels good doing that, if you're like, okay, I can do that, press into the hands and come up further. Keep those shoulders down. Now watch, they will creep up. I guarantee, promise, all the things, because that's what we all do. Okay, roll those shoulders back and down, squeeze the elbows in, keep them down. As you inhale, press into the hands, come a little bit more deeply, and just hold for a second, come down. You just think of it as inhaling up and exhaling down. So we're just gently taking the back into a back bend. All right, last one. Come on down, crocodile to the other side. You're going to release the hands back by the hips. Turn the head to the other side. And again, you're going to gently rock your hips. You are going to rest your head. I am not, because my mic is in the way. And then just take a couple of nice deep breaths. Check your back. And then come back through the center, hands up underneath the shoulders, tuck your toes, press up onto all fours, and back into one of those extended childs. Press the palms, reach out through the sit bones, forehead down. You might not make it all the way to the forehead down, that's fine. And just stretch out that back. And then come on up and have a seat. Okay, if you have tension in your lower back, it's totally normal, 100% normal, okay? Just so you know, so you don't feel like you've done something wrong. It takes time. It can take time to really figure this out. I will walk with you, linked arms, we'll figure it out, promise. Sort of promise. No, you should be able to get this, okay? Just be patient. We are learning about our bodies as we go along, how far it can go, how far it shouldn't go, etc., etc., okay? So hang in there. All right. Thanks for joining me in day 2. I look forward to our next class together. Namaste.